Hello class, this is Miss Lentino, and I want to take the time right now to help you analyze the prologue in Romeo and Juliet. The prologue is very important as it sets up the play for the reader or viewer. In this prologue, Shakespeare gives us an entire summary of the play, but unlike a novel, we do not read Shakespeare's plays to know what will happen next. Instead, we read his plays to answer philosophical questions. In this play, we will be trying to answer the question, are our lives controlled by fate or free will? In the first line of the prologue, Shakespeare introduces us to the two families when he says, two households both alike in dignity. This means that the Capulets and the Montagues are both fighting each other for power. When we talk about dignity, we talk about their money and their class status, and you can't have two equally powerful families in the same town. He then continues to say, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene. There are several reasons why Shakespeare would set the play in Verona. First of all, it's known as the city of romance. Secondly, it's very hot in the summer, which can bring about anger in its citizens, and that shows in the streets through all the brawls. Also, it was ruled by Bartolomeo I della Scala in 1301 to 1304, and he tried to appease the hate of the internal struggles between the families of Verona, just like the struggle between the Montagues and the Capulets that Shakespeare sets up. In the very next line, Shakespeare says, from ancient grudge break to new mutiny. This means that the fighting is a result of unresolved issues from the past. Because this fight is ancient, no one knows what they're currently fighting about. But the fight continues into the future generations. It brings us to this new mutiny. A mutiny here means fighting. He then continues to say, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. In other words, everyone gets involved in the fight, even the citizens and the servants from the two households who aren't even blood related. The two servants start the very first scene with a brawl. He then says, from forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life. This brings up the whole topic of fate. The fact that the stars are crossed means that it's not a good thing that's about to come from this. These two lovers come from the fatal loins, which basically means that they're doomed from the very start, and we know that things won't work out well for them. He then continues to write, whose misadventured piteous overthrows doth with their death bury their parents' strife. Basically, when the children die, the fighting dies. Also, we are then told the fearful passage of their death-marked love and the continuance of their parents' rage, which but their children's ends not could remove, is now the 2 hours' traffic of our stage. Here Shakespeare is basically telling us that this is a play. This is the whole plot, the fact that these two families are fighting and these two lovers want to be together, but they can't. He then continues to say, the which if you with patient ears attend, what here shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend. Toil here basically means battle. So he's telling us that as the reader or the viewer, it's now the time to see how this battle plays out and how things will work for the two lovers and the families. So that right there is the prologue. As I said, he basically gives us a whole summary of the play, but we're not reading this play to know what's going to happen next. We want to continue to look for answers to that philosophical question, are our lives controlled by fate or free will? As you read this play, try to keep that question in mind and try to come to your own answer. And that is it for now. So after this, I want you to continue reading into the first act, and I will give another podcast once you get to Act 2.